I'm Hannah from the Dental Assisting National Board, and I'm going to share with you more details and information about the study guide plans that we have for DANB exams. The study guide plans are based on the DANB exam outlines, and they recommend using the Dale Foundation's review courses, practice tests, and textbooks. They take these study materials and they break them down for you into a week-by-week plan that you can follow to prepare for your exam. Now, you can use other materials to prepare for DANB exams, but if you'd like to use those materials with the study guide plan, be sure that the materials you use cover the content from the exam outline, and I'll show you an exam outline in a minute. But one of the benefits of using the study guide plan is that it follows study strategies that can help you be successful. For example, the study guide plans recommend studying a different topic each week and pacing yourself rather than trying to cram all the information at once. When you take your studying one section at a time, you have more time to go into detail on the material and really learn it and feel prepared. The study guide paces the assignment, so each week you have an assignment that you can take the time to go through. And we really encourage you to take your time with the study guide assignments. And the study guide plans recommend that you spend about 5 hours a week on each assignment so you can do all the readings and all the assignments. Now, as I mentioned, the study guide plans are based on the exam outline. And every DANB exam has an outline that shows you the topics that are covered on the exam and the percentage of questions that are on each topic. And I'll show you what an exam outline looks like. So on DANB's website, we have a page that says Prepare for DANB Exams. And on this page, all the exam outlines and reference materials are there. So for example, if you're looking to prepare for the RHS exam, you can download the outline. And this is what it looks like. This is really the heart of it, where it shows you the domains or the areas and the percent of questions that are on each of these areas. And when you scroll down, you get a lot more detail. So as you can see, purpose and technique, that's 50% of the RHS exam. And this is what's covered in that area. The radiation protection section, that's 25% of the exam. And these are the topics that are covered in that area. And then infection prevention and control is another 25%. So I'll show you what the exam study guide plan looks like, but it follows this outline and it recommends studying week by week to cover all of these sections. So for example, this is what the RHS study guide plan looks like. And you can download this also from DANB's website. And it recommends that you use the RHS exam prep bundle, which is the review course and the practice test, and using modern dental assisting. As I mentioned, you can use other resources, another textbook, but then you'll have to map it all out yourself to make sure that it's covering all the content on the exam. So this is what a plan looks like at a glance for the RHS exam, and it's recommending 5 hours a week for 6 weeks. And this is the week by week breakdown. And every week there will be a reading assignment, there will be an assignment for the RHS review course, and then there will be an assignment for using the practice test. And this is designed in a way so that you're learning the material up front, and then you're using the practice test to confirm what you've learned. And this is helpful because then you're really going into detail and you're not just using something like a practice test to memorize, but you're understanding the material, and the practice test at the end is helping you validate what you know. And then if you don't get the score you're hoping for on the practice test, that's a signal that you can go back and study those areas a little bit more, read the chapter again, or go back through the sections in the review course. So this is at a glance what the plan looks like, and then you can see it goes into detail telling you exactly what to read, what sections to do. And one of the key things here is how to set the practice test so that you are simulating an exam environment and you're getting the same number of questions per minute that will be on the DANB exam. So getting comfortable with that timed test environment can help you mentally prepare for the exam. And then every study guide plan wraps up with a final review. So that's when you go over your notes, you take the final assessment of the review course, and then you go into the practice test in exam simulation mode and do that final test for yourself. And that's when you'll be able to see, did you learn everything? Do you feel confident? Or do you need to go back and study more in depth? So I'll show you how to use the resources associated with these study guide plans, and I'm using the RHS exam as an example, where it uses Modern Dental Assisting, the RHS review course, and the RHS practice test. So let's go to the Modern Dental Assisting textbook. Now you might have this already from a dental assisting program you attended. You might have purchased it. You might be able to check it out from your library, or for us, we have rented it from Amazon. So that was the most affordable way for us to access that book. You can rent it, for under $35. And then we've gone ahead and done that. And then when you do that, you just click on your Amazon account and it puts you into the Kindle version of the book. So this is an ebook. And one of the nice things about an ebook is that you can do some things digitally where it'll help you study. So for example, I'm looking at a chapter right now on the foundations of radiography, radiographic equipment, and radiation safety. And this is one of the assignments that is part of the study guide plan to read this chapter. So when you're going through a textbook, as you can see, it's a lot of text, it's a lot of information. So there are some strategies you can use to help yourself get familiar with the content and make your way through the chapter. So one of the things that's really helpful to do at the start is look at the learning outcomes of the chapter. And this is going to help you mentally prepare yourself for what you're going to be reading about. So going through and taking a moment to understand, this is what the chapter is going to be about. This is what I want to learn through the chapter and what I need to know by the end of the chapter. So just briefing yourself with the learning outcomes. Then looking at key terms. If you're someone who likes to make flashcards, key terms are something that are a great place to start with making flashcards. And one of the things that you can do with a digital textbook and a Kindle is you can flag vocabulary words or other topics that you want to highlight and come back to. So you can see I've flagged some of these already, and I'll show you in a Kindle how you can do that. So say this is a word I don't know, image receptor, I can highlight it. So the other thing I can do is I can bookmark this chapter. I can add this bookmark, and then if I want to find my bookmarks, find my notes, I go to the annotations, and then here it shows what I've bookmarked on these 2 pages and what I've highlighted. So I've highlighted some of the terms. And you can bookmark and highlight anything throughout any chapter that you want to remember or come back to. I've gone ahead and also done some bookmarks on infection control. I've made those yellow. So you can kind of get creative and use a system that works for you going through some of these concepts, and then you can make flashcards either by hand or digitally if you want to take this out of the Kindle and have notes somewhere else that you can access. And you can customize how it looks. If you go up here, I'm on a desktop, a laptop, so what I'm seeing might look a little different if you're on a Kindle or your phone or some other device, but you can customize if you want to see it in 2 columns, 1 column, how big the font size is, the page color. So you can customize this so it looks comfortable for your eyes as you're reading. So in addition to the learning objectives and all of these vocabulary terms, in a textbook, things, and this is true for any textbook, things that are in call-out boxes, things that are in graphs, some of the graphs and charts are helpful. Look for any kind of visual. Those are clues that these are important topics that you want to remember. So go through and definitely make sure you're looking and paying close attention to things like call out boxes, like charts. Those can help enforce your learning. And the other thing I want to point out is that the textbook has recall questions throughout. So if you're reading the chapter and you get to this box and it has these 3 recall questions, try to answer them. And if you don't know the answer, go back through the chapter and look for those answers, because those recall questions are ways that you can help make sure you're learning as you're going. And it's a way of being an active learner. So you're not just passively reading, but you're actively playing a role in your studying. The other thing at the very end of the chapter is they have a section for critical thinking. So you can see there's more recall throughout. Definitely answer all the recall questions. And then when you get to the end of a chapter, and some of these chapters are a little bit long, so we're recommending spending at least an hour with each chapter, you'll come to the critical thinking section, and there are 6 questions here. And these are also good to answer because it is a way for you to apply what you've learned. So it's not just looking up an answer, but it's taking what you've learned in the chapter, thinking critically about it, and applying that information to form an answer. And some of these might be questions that patients ask, like this question 2, should I have x-rays every 6 months? If a patient asks you that question, do you know the answer? Is it based in the science that you've read? So taking the time to go through these is another way to reinforce your learning. The other thing I will show you are the review courses and the practice tests. So after going through a textbook chapter, we're recommending that you go through and then do the assignments for the review course. So this is through the Dale Foundation, where you can purchase the review course, the practice test. I've already got those in my account. So when I log in, I can go to my courses, and then it will pull up my dashboard and show me all of the courses I have access to. So here is my review course, and I'm going to click into that. You'll have to go through and agree to some things, and then once you do that, then you'll be able to get into the content of the course. So this is where you will be going through the assignments, and you can see this is the menu. I've gone through the introduction, so that's checked. And then I need to go through each module. And every week, the study guide plan recommends a set number of these sections to go through. You cannot move on to the next section until you've completed everything in the first one. So you have to go through them and click on everything, read everything, do everything before you can move on to the next section. And a couple things I'll note here. The review course up in the corner has a mini menu. This also has a glossary, so some of those key terms, again, you might want to go through these. You can read them, you can take your own notes. That's a way to be active in this course. And then there are resources here. Then it's time to go through and test yourself. So I'll show you the practice test as an example. This is the RHS practice test. So the study guide plan recommends that you start by testing yourself by topic. Instead of just going through and memorizing answers to all the questions, the study guide plan recommends going through and test by topic. And each week you'll get an assignment that will tell you, okay, this is the week. For example, you might be studying radiation safety, so you can click into that, and then it'll give you a recommended setting here that will mirror what is on the exam. So, for example, I think one of the settings is giving yourself 24 minutes to answer 30 questions. And again, that will mirror what the amount of time per question on the exam is. And say no feedback, because in a real exam, you won't be getting feedback as you go through. So this is going to simulate the exam environment and help you get a sense of how much you've learned. So when you go through the practice test in this way, you'll see you have the countdown on your time, and you have the question to answer. So if you were going through this question and you were not sure of the answer, you can click down here, add it to my question bank. And that way, even though you're not getting the answer right now, you're adding it to your question bank, and then you can come back to it at a later time and look up the answer and do more reading. So I've got it in my question bank. And if we go back to the main menu, now I can go to my question bank, and these are the questions I've saved in my question bank, and I can go through them, practice them, look them up. The other thing that you will do at the very end, the last week, is you'll do the practice test and exam simulation mode. So again, this is 75 questions in 60 minutes, and that will really be the test. It brings all the topics together, and you'll have the chance to go through it in that timed environment again. So I hope this information has been helpful to you and that you find the study guide plans useful. And we thank you for joining us, and please feel free to reach out to DANB or the Dale Foundation with any questions as you go through your study guide.